This is good. Is this good?
Is this good?
Is it good?
Is it good?
Okay.
Let us know at the end, guys, if this
Let
was
us
good.
know in the comments.
Let us know in the comments down below
We haven't even
if this
started
was
yet.
good.
Oh, that's hot.
And if it's not, we'll stop.
Yeah, this will be it.
This will be the one.
I don't think so.
Aaron's like, nah, I'll do this alone.
Shit, I'll be like, hey guys, welcome back to my channel.
To my channel. Okay, perfect. This is Dicctations.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. What's up?
This is a podcast where we talk about like music and stuff.
Yeah.
Music
news.
We're planning on doing
Coming
this
to you.
bi-weekly. I guess if we like it enough and everybody else likes it enough, we could do it more often if we wanted to.
No,
That's true.
And then it'll just become a part of our life. We got a lot of stuff cooking.
Listen, guys, it's our first time, so we're gonna be a little awkward.
Oh man,
It's okay.
We're little babies.
We're little babies.
This took so long to get together.
It did. We thought we were gonna start at 6:30, and it's 7:42.
Currently.
So
Yeah, seriously.
yeah.
But everything is put together, and all the equipment is there, and all the levels look good, and it's officially happening.
I can't believe it.
It's not butter.
Well.
Anyways, dead silence.
Perfect for a podcast.
Alexa, play Despacito. I don't know. What do you want me to say?
Hello, my name is Sarah O'Hearn. I'm a violist, guitarist. What the fuck else do I play? Mandolin, piano. Sometimes I play mandolin. Don't look at me like that. Anyway, I'm a music performance major, and
She's a mandolin, not Mandarin.
I did not say Mandarin, no. Anyway, that's who I am. I'm a musician. I like talking about music, and that's what I want to do. And these are my co-hosts, Cameron Gonzalez. Introduce yourself.
Okay, I guess I'll go first. I'm Cameron. I do a lot of production, audio tech. I play the piano a lot. I'm really getting into the bass guitar. I love doing like videography and talking and being in front of a camera and stuff, so this is all like, woo, crazy. Like all my stuff is coming together at once. It's wild. I love making music with the band we have called #Yikes.
Hello.
I love making music of my own. I make like R&B hip hop stuff. And yeah, I mean, a lot of this has come together because I had a lot of this stuff that was ready to do something like this. And then now it's finally like, oh yeah, like it's here, like it's ready, it's happening. Things are happening. So Aaron, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Aaron Wiggins. I am also a musician. I'm a violist. I play piano, guitar, drums, cello, violin. I mean, I'm gonna be a music teacher, so I'm basically like well-rounded. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different things. I'm the social media guy for the group. My name, yeah. So if you see any updates, that's coming from me. Let that be known. And I mean, yeah. I mean, this is also a really cool thing. I was actually really excited to start the podcast because I've done things. I've done like radio stuff before. And they were like, okay, this is like legit. So it's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
This is legit. I tried to make this as professional as humanly possible.
Yes.
Exactly.
Because we wanted it to sound good. If it starts good, it can only get better.
Truth.
Hopefully.
You don't want to like go from here to here. You want to be like here to here.
Well, I
You
mean,
feel
like,
me?
then like you
the
would
goal
never
is to
have a
get
bottom
here.
to start from. So
Yeah.
you kind of have to like start from here, even though
That's
you
true.
want to be here.
Yeah.
Eventually, we're gonna like go from like that awkward like here to
Yeah.
like, all right, we're here. Now
Hopefully.
let's get into it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Speaking of getting into it, we
Yeah.
probably should just.
So what we're going to do here is we're going to read, we all have picked out music articles that we're going to read, and we're going to give some commentary over it and have some discourse. And hopefully it's going to be interesting.
Things are going to get off topic probably very fast.
100%.
'Cause
100,000%.
I'm going to come up with ideas and things are going to be said. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay,
wants to
everything
start?
sounds good so
Who
far.
wants to start?
We were going to rock, paper, scissors this
And we
haven't.
forgot.
It's a cat. Hi, kitty.
Oh, yes, we're in my house and my cat is here.
Hi, you pretty kitty.
He's my little cat.
Anyways.
No, she's going to ignore us. Yeah. Okay, so who wants to start? Anybody?
I mean, I can go.
Okay, go.
So the first story that I thought actually was really interesting. It had to do with actually streaming services such as Spotify and other things actually being more favorable amongst like indie bands and listeners. I mean, that's an interesting topic. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of times people get like streaming. Like, I remember when I signed up for like Spotify, I specifically was like looking for like people like, I don't know, like artists that I listen to now, like Sarah Bareilles, or like just like if I'm like practicing, like I didn't want to like necessarily have to like pull up YouTube because the thing about YouTube and like I didn't want to get YouTube Red. It's just because
don't get YouTube.
What I mean, I'd just be playing the same videos that I'd be listening to on Spotify.
You can get them for free, like
right.
You can watch really quality content on YouTube for free.
Right.
So why would you subscribe to look at this like really professionally well made, like people who make things on their own budget now get a budget of like hundreds of thousands of dollars to make something, but it's the same thing. It's just the camera quality is better. So I don't see why you would pay like $6.99 a month.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, I think it's just that it's the idea of like being in an exclusive group because not everybody's going to sign up for YouTube Red. So it's kind of like one of those like, oh, I have it. Why don't you? You know what I mean?
It's not really a great business decision because like from the consumer's point of view, it doesn't make sense. But like so much so that like YouTubers who are on YouTube Red have to beg you to be on YouTube Red to be like that. If you want to support me, get YouTube Red and watch
and like
me. It doesn't make any sense.
Yes. And these YouTubers I really like, Game Grumps.
Yep.
They had a YouTube Red show, and it's funny you said that because they said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Where they were like, we would love to do another season. YouTube, just go on ahead and approach us, just like you did for the first one.
Yeah.
Because they're just handing out money for this.
Right. Yeah.
Because YouTube has so much competition now.
Right.
But it's like missing the point from like when it was first created. Like there's so much. You can't really do as much anymore, although YouTube at its core is a place where you can upload videos and kind of do whatever you want. It's not like Live League, obviously. You can't just post like somebody getting their head blown off.
Yeah.
But like the point...
No, you can't. You can't. No, you can't. But you'll get demonetized and approached by the FBI, maybe.
Yeah, but Paul did his thing. We know how that happened.
All right.
Yeah, fair enough.
No, yeah, true.
I mean, I'm sure some things slip through, but like at its core, it's meant for like the little guy to be like, hey, I just like posting this, and if people want to watch it, like even if it's 2 people, like I'll do it, and nobody's gonna say no because I mean, like it's just there. It's the free platform that you can just do it, and no one's gonna say no as long as it's not like killing people.
Yeah. And
now it's like, okay, if I upload this to YouTube, I have to make sure that I don't ever say the F word. I have to make sure that like even if it's for educational purposes, I'm not allowed to show like genitalia.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like even showing boobs on screen kind of screws up the whole dealio.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are so many different kinds of limitations at this point when it comes to YouTube.
Yeah.
That weren't present, and now it's kind of like catering towards the people who have the money that are.
Yeah.
Well, you have to realize, I mean, YouTube started off as just like a website where like people would be like, oh, like I'm putting this video out for like my family members and stuff. Like it didn't start off as from a business aspect.
That's
it
true.
was just like any other social media platform. I mean, like look at things like Facebook and stuff.
Well, when you start any company, you start it out as a business, from a business point. But nobody thought you could make money on YouTube.
I guess.
In the beginning.
I guess.
Now it's like we can, but we have to be like
advertisement friendly, especially with like certain companies. You don't want to have like certain content that the advertiser themselves will feel like is invasive and like they don't want to like sponsor, which makes sense from a business aspect, but it's also like, what if you're like a small time YouTuber who just wants to make videos just to make videos? Now you have that worry that, oh, my channel's going to get strikes or oh, I'm going to get demonetized and and it's like people like what I've noticed is a lot of YouTubers I used to watch, like you can see the difference in the content that they've made. So it's just like, okay, well, is it really...
The thing that bugs me about it is there is a YouTube Kids, so why are we censoring regular YouTube, like as if kids are watching it? Because they could be watching YouTube Kids, and the worst part about it is YouTube Kids is like weirder and like raunchier than like regular YouTube now. So like that doesn't make sense to me. It's bad business because it's like they ain't running it right. And I don't think anybody out there is going to disagree with that. Like, everybody I've heard talk about YouTube is like, don't like YouTube corporate. They're not doing it right, you know.
Right.
Now, the good thing about the new system is I think, like, people are getting paid more than they ever have before from AdSense revenue, because now it's become a thing where it's so integrated that you can, like, say, I want this many commercials to run on my video, and I'll put them exactly where I want them to be, where the most people are watching, like right before a tense point, and you can capitalize on how many people are looking at that. I don't think it's necessarily an interaction thing.
Okay.
I don't think people necessarily have to click all the time.
Okay.
I think it's just it really depends on, like, how many people are watching the video. I don't think it's a per click thing at this point, because it's not like a Google thing.
Okay.
I don't think.
Okay.
It's like AdSense or something. I don't know if that's Google or not.
Yeah.
But like with other websites, normally you have to like like when I'm writing papers, like I have to go to a citation website because I don't want to do that myself. So
Moved.
So I'll go to the citation website, and then they make you interact with the sponsor. So they'll have a video, and they'll have something you have to click through and see the details before it lets you go out of the ad. For YouTube, you just kind of have to watch it, and people get paid when you watch that ad. So like, and you can have as many ads as you'd like on the video. I think up to like 4. So especially if your video is long, like if you're doing a podcast, you can really capitalize off that stuff. And I think more so than ever before. So like, bringing it back to Spotify,
Yeah.
I have heard a lot about Spotify that is not conducive
Yeah.
to a lot of artists, because they do it on a system that's like,
It's like a pod. It's not like a kind of like a, what's it called? It's kind of like a pod type thing where like
Oh yeah, like a
there's money there, and like the more popular you are, the more money you're gonna get from it. While like smaller
right.
artists. But then, like I've said, I've heard, like, at least according to the article, like a lot more underground artists are getting a lot more attention from things like Spotify and like SoundCloud than before, because you have to realize, I mean, at least for me, there's gonna be a point where you're gonna get bored of listening to your same favorite artist like every single day. So you, like, a lot of times that I've noticed, especially with Spotify, like they'll like recommend artists that are like close to the same genre that you can just easily just okay, cool, which I think is kind of, I guess, a good thing about it. It kind of sucks like how they're paying their musicians, but
it's very
there's
accessible.
there's more
It's very accessible, because you can just download Spotify and then all the songs are available to you. You just have to watch an ad every once in a while. It's not like Pandora at all.
Pay for it.
Yeah, unless you pay for it, and then even then it's even easier. Because like everybody's on Spotify. It's trying to be that very easy. It's trying to be like SoundCloud. I don't know how the SoundCloud thing works. Really? Like, I listen to SoundCloud a lot and a lot of upcoming people. What I like about SoundCloud is they have this playlist called The Upload, where they'll see songs that you've listened to before and be like, oh, we've heard that you like this, so here's someone who's got like 100 views on their song, and it's the same genre or style, and it introduces you to like what people are going through to try and get up, you know, like how much work people are putting into it, and introduces you to young artists. It's kind of like inspiring, you know, as someone who, like, I don't post anything at all. Like, I posted 2 videos on my channel and I gave up because I was like, I can't keep this regular. But there are people who are doing regular updates, like constantly, to their SoundCloud, and they're advertising it like crazy, and they get like 100 views. And you would never see that if SoundCloud didn't do that for you.
Right.
So like, that's cool. But I haven't heard of like the monetization part. And also SoundCloud is very like rapper heavy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think SoundCloud, I mean, there is monetization. It's not as organized as like things like YouTube and stuff. I think SoundCloud is really more for exposure.
I have no idea what's going on with SoundCloud. I feel like years ago they were gonna go under, and I was really sad. And I was like, that makes sense, because like, where's your money coming from, SoundCloud? And they're still here today, and I'm glad, but I have no idea how their business is keeping afloat. Maybe they found a philanthropist or
subscriptions, SoundCloud Go.
Oh, okay.
Because I mean, what else are you going to do? Everybody else is doing it. Everybody's subscribing to the streaming services. That's what everything is turning to. That's kind of like the downfall of YouTube, as people are saying right now.
Yeah.
So, like, it's, I don't know. And I don't know how SoundCloud's going to turn out if more people start getting SoundCloud Go. Because now artists like Chance the Rapper, you know, like, he used to release songs for free on SoundCloud, And Tyler, the Creator, used to release songs for free on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, it's got the little red dot on the very top.
Oh.
And it says you can get a 30-second preview, but you have to subscribe to SoundCloud Go to hear it. So
Okay.
it is sort of infecting SoundCloud, but not to the extent, because SoundCloud has always been way more underground
Right.
than
Yeah.
every other streaming service.
Yeah. Yeah. Bandcamp also. I mean, Bandcamp is more of like a production app. Yeah, it's not really just like you can put anything on there. Like you actually have to go through like hey, let me send my MP3 and like get it like authorized to put this up on Bandcamp and like make money from it. But
And I heard Bandcamp pays well.
yes,
Like for people who aren't
Yes.
like making money otherwise, like if you can get some people to listen to your stuff and download your stuff off Bandcamp, like
Yeah.
you can make some decent cash.
yeah, and they also sell merch as well. So like it's super easy to just be like, oh my gosh, I really like this Bones of J.R. Jones song, and then you go down and then it's like, oh, let me buy his album on vinyl.
Could you repeat the band name for me?
Bones of J.R. Jones.
Bones of
He's very good.
He's
He does-
very good.
He does acoustic blues songs.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Fair enough. I just heard JR and I was thought of my granddad because that's his name.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh,
Okay.
my granddad's on SoundCloud.
Bandcamp. Excuse you.
Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Bandcamp.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
So, okay. Is there more to that topic, or?
Actually, no, that was really just kind of it, I guess.
Okay. What's next?
Um.
Anybody?
So. Oh man. When it comes to like we were talking about YouTube, right? And we were talking about copyright strikes.
Oh god.
Oh, yes.
And it's been a huge problem because there is fair use. And I don't know the stipulations of fair use. I know that you can get a certain license that will, like a Creative Commons license, I think is what it's called. And if you license whatever creative stuff you make, it means that it is part of the Creative Commons system and you can use it.
Right.
When it comes to fair use, it means that like if you're critiquing something or parodying something, it protects you. So like if it's clearly a parody, it's clearly a critique, then you won't get copyright strike on YouTube because it is different. It's satire. It is something of an original creation. It is piggybacking off what somebody has made and you made something new. It also says that you can use songs that are not under Creative Commons licenses for a certain amount of time in your videos, like to supplement videos.
Isn't like 15 seconds, I think?
10 to 15
10 to
seconds,
15 seconds, I think,
at
yeah.
one time in like a
Yeah.
consecutive time, and then you have to like break it up
Yeah.
over certain amounts of times.
Yeah.
So Ed Sheeran's getting sued.
Oh god.
And
Ed Sheeran.
it is weird
Mm-hmm.
because according to this article from Reuters, Ed Sheeran was sued once by Ed Townsend. He is the co-creator or co-writer of a song called Let's Get It On by Marvin Gaye. Now, Ed Sheeran put out a song called Thinking Out Loud, and that got like number 2 on like the Billboard 100 when it came out.
Oh,
It was
yeah?
super popular, and it's very similar. Very, very strikingly similar
Mm-hmm.
to the Marvin Gaye hit. And I don't know if Ed Sheeran was like, okay, like, it's an old song. Only old heads are going to listen to it. If you're not a whole lot of people are into that anymore, I think I can just take the song that I like and just
then
put a
kinda remake
new
it.
melody and lyrics over it and release it, and it'll be like my song. He never credited Marvin Gaye. He never. I don't think he ever explicitly stated that this was something that he got from something else. But obviously, pop artists do that all the time, and so it's really difficult to explain whether like or not it was right to do it. I don't think in general that it is right for a lot of these pop artists to just like take stuff from
right.
other people.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily credit, especially when they get on the radio. Like a radio announcer isn't like, oh, this is this song by this person, and it was inspired by this.
Right.
Like nobody's ever going to say that. They're just going to say this is their song. When it's not true. It's not like their song. Like it was somebody else's song, and they're doing their own
Yeah.
cover cover of it
But
in a
then
way.
you can make the argument though that there are 7 chords, and there are certain there are 12 notes. You know, like there's
Right.
we're living in the world of music right now is limited technically, but creativity is not.
Right.
That's the thing. So like you can I've written songs before where I've been playing another song and I've been singing a melody over that, but then I go back and I change the chords to the original, to the lyrics. So like you have to, as a musician and as an artist, you have to make your
Find
art.
the balance
You have
between
to
Absolutely.
balance, yeah.
But as someone that's not making money off it,
Yeah,
you have to
as
think
well.
about intent.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's really anyone's intent. Like, you can't really say it. Again, it's hard. So that's why Ed Sheeran getting sued twice is baffling to me, because the argument is so difficult.
Yeah.
And I think the one by Ed Townsend got declined. I don't think, or whatever they call it. I don't think that went through necessarily.
Right.
In comes David Pullman. And David Pullman is like a third owner of Ed Townsend's estate, like a third owner of him. And David Pullman came out and said, like, no, this is a copy. I'm going to get musicologists. They're going to explain exactly why. And he sued him for like $100 million. I mean, this is big money out of Ed Sheeran's pocket.
Wow.
And David Pullman really went after him. But for some background on David Pullman, this is going to get kind of businessy. I was talking about this with one of my friends in macroeconomics class, because he's into this kind of stuff too. David Pullman created this thing called Bowie bonds, where I don't know how he acquired David Bowie's albums, but he would buy up his albums and secure the royalties, as in he would take the royalties away from David Bowie's estate and securitize them and put them essentially in a pot that he can use for his own devices. He took these albums and talked to investors and was like, hey, listen, a lot of people still listen to this, and David Bowie's really popular. These are generating a lot of money. And if you invest in this, you're going to get a good return.
Okay.
He made $55 million
Holy shit! Wow.
off of David Bowie's albums that he had bought,
Yeah.
and then people were investing in. And as it acquired royalties over time and gained value, they got a return off how much they owned the album.
Wow.
So they had completely taken taken all the royalties away from 25 of David Bowie's albums going to him and his estate,
And just
Wow.
went straight into.
So like is it stealing? You
Is
know,
it stealing?
because it's such a crazy thing.
There's so many technicalities to the situation.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
you could easily make the argument that, well, you know, technically because he has rights to, you know, I mean,
technically, right?
Technically,
But
I-
can you imagine you put out a song
Yeah.
and somebody tricks you into saying, like, here, I'm going to put up a lot of money up front and say, like, if I give you this much money up front for the album, I can just secure royalties for this. So, like, you won't no longer be generating income from that album and all of its streams or anything like that.
we'll just go straight to me.
It's just going to go straight to me, but I'm going to put up a lot of money up front for you to give that up. So, like,
yeah.
especially for albums that are on the decline,
Yeah.
people will see that and be like, okay, well, how can we get as much as possible out of this?
Right.
They're going to say, like, oh, someone's willing to put up a lump sum of money for them to
Yeah.
just own it. And, like, we're not generating enough as it is. We're just going to sell it off. But David Bowie became more popular as time went on.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
And
he's
he's
David
still
Bowie.
Because of
really
that.
popular today.
Yeah.
And, like, as popular as he was back then, I'm sure there was a decline.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's still generating a lot of money.
But you have to realize, I mean, at least from where I stand, I mean, the fact that they've basically given up their rights to it
Right,
because
they
of
signed
this,
it off, and it's
right.
fair.
So technically, it is fair use.
Yeah.
But man, can you imagine? like,
You just have
Golly
to work
gee.
my whole life, and then all of a sudden, damn,
like,
Damn.
oh my god.
could have made more money.
Yeah.
But then I guess that's the thing that sucks about being an artist, because you never know when your art will be appreciated.
That's the thing that sucks about capitalism in general is opportunity cost.
True.
Yeah, all the time. If I go out today and I work my minimum wage job, I could have been spending this time
Right.
getting another job that would pay me more money. So, you know, like that's the whole point. And it's not different as an artist at all. It's
True.
just it's a different way of making money. Yeah.
And so the way I just find it crazy, like how Mr. Pullman got away with this. It is this thing where I guess he's the third owner in Ed Townsend's, and I don't know if he owns the song, but obviously if Ed Townsend is a co-writer, his estate owns the song. If he can back up Ed Townsend and has a relationship with him and ownership in him, if Ed Townsend is getting more money, he is getting more money.
Right.
That is in general like the way investment works. So like it is in his best interest to win, and he went hard. So these musicologists came in and was like, okay, we're going to take apart everything, and I'm going to read the list of what they said was copied. With Gay, Pullman's company, structured asset, infringement claims of the songs. Oh, he also faced infringement claims over other songs, including Photograph and Shape of You. Yikes.
Wow.
Wow.
It must be hard being a folk artist. It really must be hard. Because like all he wants to do is go on stage and play his guitar, and like folk music, I mean they use a lot of the same
thing,
but it is the culture of folk music.
Yeah.
And now it's getting put onto a worldwide scale, and now it's entering into these things of like business things, and it sounds so similar.
Yeah.
And he just must be getting railed. I'm sorry, Mr. Sheeran.
I don't know, man. How much money does that guy have? Can he take a couple lawsuits? Like, come on.
Well, here's the thing,
Thinking
though,
out loud.
about taking a couple of lawsuits, because at the end of the day, if you think about it, not only would his reputation then be tarnished, that could determine, like, his future income. Because
That's very true.
I mean, think about it. When it comes to, like, any celebrity that has, like, any backlash, I mean, yeah, like, you're going to be interested into them at that moment, like, oh my gosh, yeah. But then after a while, especially when it comes to music, you're going to have newer and newer artists giving you the same type of music, but you know, for a younger audience.
Yeah.
And so, not saying Ed Sheeran's gonna like disappear.
No.
But, like,
I mean, and I do feel that. Like, I feel like in the zeitgeist, in the people I talk about, like, just like the general, like, I have to explain the word zeitgeist.
no, you're fine.
Okay, but
that's a word I haven't heard in so long. I'm like, Jesus. Okay.
just like people talking to me.
Right.
I feel like Ed Sheeran is becoming more of like, hello? Okay.
Okay, we're good.
Oh, shit. Are we editing this out? I hope to God.
It's not. What do you mean we're editing this out?
Who's editing?
Listen, okay, so I forgot to turn the sleep timer off my laptop, and it's showing us if we're still recording or not. So occasionally I'm going to have to get up and turn my laptop back on so I can see the screen. I apologize.
Cameron.
This is the first day.
This is
Come
the first
on.
one. Poncho's barking.
We're all
and it's
loose. It's
100% picking up.
you
Yeah, it's
know?
very
Lighten
loose.
up just a little bit.
But you know what?
My
For
phone went
our
off
first
twice,
time,
you know?
Like,
this is not
I was
bad.
hoping y'all would just keep talking, because I was just trying to do it really discreetly.
No, no.
But
We
then I
gotta
realized,
call this
like,
out,
wait, I'm actually like leaving the screen.
Yeah.
But everything's still recording, so we're okay.
All right,
I don't think
good.
I'm gonna check the next time. I think we're good.
I think the thing that I was gonna say is the people talking to me have started to bring up Ed Sheeran as like a punchline. Does that make sense?
God.
Like, you know, yeah. Like, it's literally just like, oh yeah, like one of those musicians, like Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran.
And that's usually like
Number 2 on the
beginning-
Billboard 100 in 2015.
Well, that's the
Oh,
thing.
it's so
It's
funny, it's so
2018.
stupid.
Everything
Oh.
moves so fast
I
now.
guess, but like he's accomplished a lot, man.
He has.
Ed Sheeran is, and not only that, I mean, like his performances are genuine. Like the man can sing.
Right.
The man can play the guitar.
I'm
He
not
has
saying-
talent.
he
There's talent
has
there.
Great talent, but I'm saying like that's the what did you say? You said like reputation. That reputation is important. So like when
As soon as you fall off the map.
as soon as you fall off the map, it's
Right,
like
you're
people are
irrelevant.
like,
It's
and
like,
then people are
oh,
gonna be like,
haha,
look
Ed
for the-
Sheeran 2 years from now is gonna be like, oh yeah, remember that one song
Mhm.
from
And
that
then
one
he's just
time?
gonna end
No,
up. He's gonna end up being like Vine. Like everybody
Yeah.
references it, but
yeah,
like
but
Vine's not
But it's
there.
dead.
Yeah, no.
And
Yeah.
it's slowly going to decline. I have found what they accused Ed Sheeran of copying. It's a long list, let me tell you.
oh golly,
The melody, rhythms, harmonies, drums, bass line,
Harmonies?
backing chorus,
Drums?
tempo, syncopation, and
Syncopation.
looping.
And looping.
Syncopation and looping.
Wow.
Syncopation. That's
How do
wild.
I mean,
how do you copy this? I mean, syncopation. If it's just
And
like
Marvin
on the
Gaye's
end,
song is. Which I guess is the same.
That's very
and I mean,
simple,
like,
though.
it's the same chords throughout the entire song, isn't it?
I think. I mean,
Wait, are we talking about Marvin?
Both the songs,
both
because they're very
thinking
similar.
out loud.
Listen.
Let's get it on.
We can talk about one, and it's essentially the other. So.
That's the whole article.
Yeah. It's essentially what we're trying to argue.
That is the purpose for the writing. Thank you. No, I guess yeah. Wow.
That's crazy.
That's a
That's
lot.
a lot. Like you're basically just like, oh, you made a song, it's mine.
Right.
Pretty much.
Right, and
That's
that's his
insane.
history, because obviously he was taking songs, securitizing them, and then having he was doing the whole thing.
Yeah.
So he is in the business of securing albums and songs and things like that. So seeing him go hard on this, I mean, is expected.
But still, damn.
So I'm just thinking about Melody is the first one they quote, and like Melody, there are differences. It's like let's get it on is very different from thinking out loud. Like he has a lot of he has a different voice.
Yeah.
He has like a more runny voice, like a more R&B. Yeah.
I thought the whole thing with the what is it, Leonard Skinner, I think, of what is it, Stairway to Heaven. That like court case a couple years ago was that the result of that was that you are only copying another melody if it's only certain number of notes the same, like rhythm and notation wise. Does that make sense? So like, I thought that was that.
But like melody is also in how you sing it, man.
Yeah, well, tone as well.
Right.
Like, that's the whole thing about melody. Yeah, it's everything.
Like it's feel, like there's dynamic differences, and that's hard to quantify.
Articulation, yeah.
Because what are you going to look at? Like decibel levels? Like how loud you sing it? Like music now is so compressed, like you can hardly hear it. It's a loudness war. So like melodies are so personal.
Yeah.
And like they're supposed to be the drawing point of the song. Like what
Yeah.
makes it unique in a lot of senses, because a lot of pop music has a lot of repetition.
Yeah,
Like it
yeah.
sounds a lot of the same.
Definitely.
So like the
Yeah.
melody is what brings it out.
Yeah.
So it's crazy that like they're saying like, no, you copied.
Yeah.
So you would think like if Ed Sheeran had copied the melody to Let's Get It On,
Yeah.
that would be enough. You didn't have to
Yeah,
do
right?
anything else, because
That's
that
true.
is like the bread and butter of a song. So like for me to see all of this list and melody be at the beginning, I'm
just
like, you
reaching.
should have just stopped at melody if that was what he was copying. But it wasn't, and I think that's why they had to go into so much detail about this.
Well, I mean,
But then you can also make the argument that it's really at the end of the day about money.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's from the point of view of a lawyer made this.
Right.
So like, a
Yeah.
lawyer, if you're in law, you want to have as much
Much cover-
evidence as possible.
right.
You want to be over prepared. That's all lawyers want to be. So like, yeah, no. I mean,
like how,
I get what you're saying.
I just now I'm laughing because like the word drums is so vague. like drums. He copied the
Like,
drums.
He copied the drums.
Snare,
He
like
had
about
the
babies.
set or like
He had a drum set. What?
And it
That's
was yellow.
crazy.
What?
and like it blows my mind because like drums.
Yeah.
Like that just seems so overly. And I'm sure like I didn't read the court case. I'm not gonna go through that.
We're busy
there
people.
are plenty of YouTube videos where you can go like go to Adam Neely's channel and he'll show you like he went through it.
Not sponsored.
And I think that was with Ed Townsend though. But I think they might be the same thing. Drums. Like
Drums.
bassline makes sense because that's not talking about the sound of the bass. It is talking about the bass melody.
Right.
They are very similar.
Yeah.
But drums, like what about the drums? Backing chorus? Was it the notes of the backing chorus? Was it like
The
who
vocal
sung
range?
it? Like
Yeah.
was it the
I
Michael
feel
Jackson
like
chorus? Like what?
You know what this sounds like? It sounds like whoever like just came up with all these allegations literally opened up like a theory book and they were just
Yeah, they were like, oh,
yes.
wait, I took music appreciation one time.
Right.
There's all kinds of stuff like I can glean from this now.
I could glean.
Imagine you're sitting there in your music appreciation class and the camera pans and there's just a businessman in a full suit writing full notes. Like, I'm gonna make so much money.
The tempos are very similar. Like when you think about it in your head, like let's get it on, like it's very, and then like
Yeah, but it's
But then you can say that
Tempo.
about, honestly,
You
there's
can
so
say that
many
about so
songs like
much.
that.
I
It's just
mean,
like,
if Let's Get It On is at like 90 or 80, like Ed Sheeran's is at like 92 or 82 or
everything
something
is
like
at
that.
90.
Yeah.
Every goddamn
Everybody
thing
loves
is
a
that,
good
right?
moderato.
Yeah.
That's true.
Looping.
Yeah.
Looping.
That's crazy.
It's looping. Not
Looping.
this.
Everything loops. Like all pop. That's the fundamental of music. Like it loops. It does things over and over again. Like you listen to like something made in the olden times, and it's looping. Like it's the same. You have an A theme and a B theme, and sometimes it goes to a C, and then you have an A again.
Or maybe an A prime.
Like yeah, absolutely. And then it's just like the looping. Did he have to add a bridge? Would that have saved him?
Oh wow.
Just a bridge
Did
in
he have to
between.
add like a breakdown, like or something like?
Yeah. I don't know. Then somebody else would have been like, but he also had a bridge, and my song has a bridge.
Oh.
So
and
I
then
can
here we
sue
go.
him now. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well.
I think
But
that's all I
then-
really want to say about that. It's just
Okay.
like
But then, I feel like as a musician, a lot of, especially in the music industry, like a lot of the stuff that you like or that you create is based off of other works. I mean, think about it. When you look at like different periods of time, like when it comes to like classical and romantic, like a lot of the romantic, composers looked at like, oh, what did Beethoven, what did Bach do? And then like,
100%.
how can I change this?
Yeah.
And the same thing could be, related to stuff now where it's just like a lot of, especially when you're in like certain genres, like indie bands, like no offense, there are just certain genres that I'm like, that sounds all the same.
Yeah.
But it goes to the question of, are we, as a musician, are you not allowed to be inspired by another person's
And that's
work?
like the crazy thing is that's how it's taught. If you go into
Right.
theory, you're taught Bach. If you're going to piano, you're taught Bach. If you go like any classical music, you're gonna play one of the famous classical composers, and you're given that to be inspired by them because they were the greats. And it's not different for pop music or rock music or indie music or anything like that. Like everybody, every grunge band now probably listened to Nirvana, most likely. Like
They knew who they were.
I hope the babies listening to grunge music know who
there-
Nirvana
A lot
are.
of people who wear Nirvana shirts who are just like,
I don't know who that is.
oh, you
Yeah.
remember they had shirts with this suicide note on it that people were wearing.
What?
what?
That this actual suicide note, and people were like, "Oh my god, what is this like?" Sad boy rap or something. Like people thought it was like some kind of weird underground deep SoundCloud stuff. Like they thought it was like an album cover for like something on SoundCloud. It was his actual suicide note.
Oh
Speaking
my-
of that
who
topic,
made
I'm going to
that
talk about
shirt,
something else
actually?
too. Oh, who was the artist?
Oh no.
Kanye West did another thing recently where
Here we
he
go.
released a song or an album with an album cover.
From
I
another
think
artist?
it was Whitney Houston's death scene. As in, like, somebody from her family sold the picture of the death scene for $80,000 or something like that to Kanye West for him to use as an album cover.
To Kanye West.
To Kanye West, yes.
I mean,
Well,
who
I mean,
else
like,
is wanting
That she must
the
have been in
Whitney
dire
Houston?
straits, man.
Yeah.
She was like, we ain't got no more money.
Well, she was like, I have, like, if this picture means that much to you, man, you
Yeah.
can have it, because I need that money. And like, her death scene,
Her death scene.
her actual, and not like a dramatization
Dramatization.
of her death scene. It was her death scene, like her actual death scene. She died there, and now it is an album cover that everyone can stare at and listen to another shitty Kanye song that's been coming out recently.
Whew. Those,
Old Kanye was,
those deep
but
takes from
new
Kanye.
Kanye,
Yeah, new Kanye is
someone needs to call him and just give him
just
a
like
hug.
a hug
you
over
know?
the phone.
I just feel like Kanye needs a friend. You know what I mean?
Kanye does need. I got real worried for him when he had that mental breakdown.
I'm still worried.
I'm
for
still
him.
worried. Yeah, I'm worried about Kanye.
Poor baby. He probably doesn't know what's going on himself. He's
That's
just
what I'm
like,
saying.
I'm being creative. But then again,
But it's like, no.
are you really being?
Are you really
creative?
being, or are you just having a? Do you just need a therapist, Kanye? And you should, because you have a lot of money, and
You
they
have.
cost money. So you should have like 3.
Cost several monies.
They do. They cost several monies. Do you guys want to talk about this R. Kelly song that's 19 minutes long and it's terrible?
R. Kelly.
Sure.
Did he pee on another
Okay.
person?
Hit me with it. I mean,
Okay.
what about it makes it bad?
It's
I always just like the joke that R. Kelly pisses on children. So
Well, that's
I never
the
listened
thing.
to I never listened
That's
to R.
the thing
Kelly.
about it. So, the lyrics and the music as well. But I'm mostly going to talk about the lyrics.
Okay.
And I love this article because the title of it is "What's the definition of a cult? What's the definition of a sex slave?" And that's in quotes because that's from his song. That's in the song. The 19-minute song, I admit.
Kind of digging a hole for himself, isn't he?
Yeah.
The hole's been dug. There's nothing
I
too
mean,
big.
I guess
Ooh,
it was
yeah.
dug a long time ago, but now he's just embracing it.
Well, the thing is, now people are calling him out for it. So, like... Now. People have been, but, like, now, like, with the Me Too movement and everything like that, it's like, hey, how about we boycott R. Kelly, not listen to his songs, and his songs have been now pulled from Spotify, so he released this 20-minute song, like he does. And everybody's like, oh my god, 20 minutes, R. Kelly released it. And I'm like, did you not listen to Trapped in the Closet? That was like 3 hours. This is a short song for R. Kelly.
You're right about
Yeah.
that.
But yeah, no.
I like how like it's a bigger statement when people make longer music.
Yeah, that's
Isn't
true.
it wild?
I think it's because
it doesn't have- it's
nobody's gonna,
usually not.
Usually nobody listens to anything more than like 3-4 minutes.
Yeah.
And so when
Yeah.
you like hear a song, or,
That's
like, see
20
music video
minutes.
that's, like,
You
10
think
minutes,
like, oh,
it's
that's epic.
Yeah.
Right.
But like it's the content. Like
Yeah.
how realistically, like it's not. It doesn't have like movements. Like it's not
It's not a symphony dance.
It's not.
Excuse you, Trapped in the Closet had
It's not
movements.
composed.
Yeah,
so like,
probably.
Yeah.
when you think about it, it's like, I mean, really, the song probably got bad in minute 1.
It's bad as soon as you
what
turn
are you
it on.
expecting?
Yeah.
You know, like, it's
Ugh.
not. It's not a statement to make a longer song unless it's good.
Well, yeah.
I mean, okay, so the thing about R. Kelly is that he's illiterate. And, like, that's sad. And in his song, he actually, like, he confesses to being, like, forced into his contract, his music contract, which sucks. Now, the thing about that is, don't also abuse women. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing. And then don't, like, blame that on, like, listen, I came from struggles. And that's literally what the song is. It's 20 minutes long of, listen, I came from these really, you know, like, from, you know, these, like, poor, you know, thing. And then, like, also, but I, you know, made a bunch of money. And, yeah, so what if I had a sex slave? What if I peed on a girl? And, like, he doesn't even talk about it, too. He talks about, like, infidelity. Two situations of infidelity that he had. And I'm like, okay, that's not what I'm mad at you about, R. Kelly. You fine, that's your personal life. I don't care. But when you start keeping sex slaves, that's when I'm like, somebody's got to step in, stop you, maybe. But I love this article, mostly because the author, it's from the Outline. .com, and it's called "The R. Kelly Boycott is Working." I don't know who's. By Anne Derrick Gallio. I don't know how to say her name, but anyway, one of the sentences in this article is, the song is a bad song, period. But musical qualities aside, it's meant only to reify R. Kelly's warped world in which he is the victim of people out to ruin his career. And you know, he's talking about his canceled shows, his financial hardship, and his tainted legacy, and I'm like, I don't care, R. Kelly. R. Kelly, I don't care. You have kept sex slaves, and I'm mad, and I'm not going to listen to your music. And that's what the boycott is about. And I'm wondering, like with Michael Jackson and, like, his you know, allegations, I was able to separate the music from the artist, and I can feel that way with R. Kelly. But I'm more mad at R. Kelly maybe because I don't like his music, and I'm wondering
If there's a correlation.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that is what happened with XXXTentacion when he died in Miami.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We're filming in Florida, by the way.
That's true. We're in Florida.
So this is local.
This
When
is
that
local.
came out,
That was crazy.
I mean, people freak, because not only is he from Florida,
Yeah.
he died in Florida. So Floridians, I mean, went nuts. Because there's a lot of people who like him in Florida. He's kind of an idol in Florida.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of posts on Instagram that were just like, you know, you got like all these people like saying like, oh, like he deserved to die. It was disrespectful. He beat women. None of his music was white moms. Where like his music isn't like educational, or his music isn't like and it's not just white moms. I mean like people who are just like who just don't appreciate that kind of music are just like just railing him, and they were very much not separating the artist from the art.
Yeah.
Yeah, the art and the artist had a lot of similarities, but a lot of XXXTentacion's music was about like suicide and depression and like what he was going through like emotionally. And a lot of people were fighting back, and they were like, no, man, it's sad when somebody dies, you know?
Yeah.
But again, like the people who didn't like it were railing him because they couldn't separate. And the people who liked him were like, no, I like this, so I'm going to separate and say his stuff can hit, like, here, I'm still going to like this, and he should be able to die in peace, and I still like him.
Right.
So
But what's, like, ethically correct, you know? That's what I want to know. Because, like, I'm an ethical person. I try to live, like, morally correct. So I want to know, like...
What, in that case...
Am I being hypocritical by like liking Michael Jackson's music, even though his allegations have not really ever been proven, and not liking R. Kelly's music specifically because of his
style
allegations?
of music.
Yeah.
I think what it boils down to, especially when it comes to a situation like that, because even for me, I mean. Back in the day, before all of the R. Kelly like allegations, like especially in the African American like community, R. Kelly was like, oh, what? R. Kelly, yeah. Even for me, like I didn't care too much for his music, and then after the allegations, I started to care for him less, and I think it's just, I mean, it kind of boils down to you as a person.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say it's necessarily hypocritical because. Technically, R. Kelly's situation and Michael Jackson's situation are like
they're different. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's necessarily hypocritical. Wow, English is just not my language. I don't think they're necessarily hypocritical. I think it's just a situation of two people with two separate situations dealing. They're both. I think the only similarities is that they're both celebrities dealing with like really out of the norm allegations. And so, in that case, I don't know. I don't
know. I don't like his music. I'm not going to listen to it. Another funny thing that he does in the song is he wants to be uplifted by his hometown of Chicago.
Oh, God.
And the thing about Chicago is, like, with rappers...
Chance the Rapper took over Chicago.
Yeah.
Like, that man is the key to the city.
Yeah.
Like,
you can't do that. So it's so weird when you call out somebody... all of a sudden say like, hey, you're a bad person, and they go, but wait, look at all my success, I haven't been uplifted enough.
And look at all these people to prove it here in Chicago.
And then
nobody says anything.
Because they're like, no, you sexually abuse women.
But then at that point, like shouldn't you just be like, oh, like I feel like a sane person would realize like there's really nobody backing me up at this point. Like there's nobody supporting me. So like what? Like obviously something needs to change.
Yeah.
But R. Kelly was like, look at all these people, and one guy was like, woo, raised his hands up in the air.
But his fans continue to support him. Yeah. That's the weird thing. And it's like also like Chris Brown. Like, come on, why are we still letting Chris Brown do stuff? You know.
The thing about Chris Brown, and it kind of goes back into it's a matter of your style of music.
Yeah.
Chris Brown, no offense, even though like the stuff he's done, not good at all. But you can't say he doesn't have talent.
Yeah, no, I believe he has talent.
You know, so I think with that situation, it kind of goes back into the whole like Michael Jackson. I don't say versus R. Kelly, like they're fighting like this is Mortal Kombat. But
man.
No offense, like R. Kelly.
Isn't great.
Good. Isn't compared to Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the same thing could
to Chris Brown as well.
But Chris Brown,
it's it's less. It's an interesting topic to me because I'm always like, I like this music. Maybe I don't agree with like
him as a person,
him as a person, or like the point of view behind these lyrics. But like usually I'm able to like, and I want to be open to different points of view, but. at what point, even in society, are you going to say like, you probably shouldn't uplift the point
I
of
feel like a
music.
normal person is like, you're kind of in the deep end if you're trying to understand like somebody
Yeah.
who does what R. Kelly did
Yeah,
to a certain
right?
extent. At that
Yeah.
point, you're just kind of like, I maybe want to block that out because that's not who I am.
Yeah,
And I'm just
exactly.
going to let that go because I don't necessarily agree with that. I'm not going to try to agree with it.
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
Because eventually you just go down a rabbit hole of like, why can't I appreciate this? Am I not open-minded?
Right.
Yeah,
But I mean, you are, but not. You can't be the most
Yeah.
open-minded. Like nobody is like Confucius. Like you can't just be like ultimate wisdom.
There
I know
was
everything.
Confucius.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Difficult stuff.
Difficult stuff. It's a funny song though. Go
Mm-hmm.
listen to it. Don't spend 19 minutes of your life listening to it. I was gonna do that and I was like,
Yeah, it's garbage. I don't think so.
Really? Like what minute did you get to?
I got to like one.
Oh no!
Oh, and that's usually like when I don't like a song, I'll get to that point.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm like, I
I
can't.
can sit through it. Like if I don't like a song,
Oh no.
I want to really get into because I'm like a huge theory nerd.
Okay.
So like when I listen to a song, like I want to understand like what about it is so like redundant in my head, just for my own personal reference because you know you don't want to make music that's like that obviously. So like what you don't like in music
like
can
that
just be
shit.
just as meaningful to you as like what you do like. So like even if I don't like it, like I'll sit through it. Like I just like again, like I said, I go through like the Spotify, the upload thing, and even if it's bad, like I'll listen to
You
it.
listen,
And like I'll try to pinpoint like what is bad about it, like objectively in my head.
Oh, I mean, I don't think like what is bad about it. I think what don't I like about it, because it's some people like R. Kelly, some people like certain things, but no, I just think there's not enough time in my life. I'm like I just can't spend time. So like I'll go through new releases and I'll be like, sounds like the radio. I can't, and I'll skip it after like a second, because like if you don't catch my interest by maybe like the first 5
10,
seconds,
yeah.
you've messed up.
Right.
And a lot of I mean, I'm not sure, I haven't done this in a while, but like when I did, a lot of music has been like really slow starting up, and I'm like, that's not what I want. That's not what me, Sarah, a 20-year-old white woman wants. Is I want the song to be here as soon as I get it. That's what
Right.
I want. I'm not messing around. Yeah.
I can agree with you on that. I don't think that songs that have a long build up like necessarily mean more, and I think like artists like especially in like trap music now.
Oh.
Like have you heard some of the intros to some of these trap like you hear it in the background throughout the whole song, but they make a point to have just the beat at the very beginning
Right.
and do like an 8-bar loop, and then they start rapping, and you're like, why not just start rapping? Like you could just start rapping.
Yeah.
And
This is your job. You should just do it.
and like they take a lot of the time and you're like, burr.
I mean, maybe that's like them just having their warm ups in the in the practice session, just like
Like it makes it. They try to make it sound like it's. They try to make it sound like it was done like first take. Like they just didn't. They didn't edit it. They didn't edit that take at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's frustrating to me. I just start the song.
Yeah. No, same. I'm
Unless
really
the
just like-
intro is different from what's happening, or the song is going to get different, then I mean do an intro. But I mean like if it's just gonna loop,
Yeah.
just start rapping.
I'm thinking if this is your single that's gonna be on like new releases on like a Friday or something, have it be something that starts first. That starts as soon as it's gonna be. You're not a
Absolutely.
prog rock band. You're not gonna be Queen. I'm not gonna sit there and listen to you for that long just because I know your name, because I don't. So I need you to impress me. That's it. And it's like it's less of. I mean, it is personal taste, but I also think of it as like a business transaction.
true.
You're trying to sell me something. So
Get to the point.
Get to the point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fair enough.
I'm trying to find lyrics for this song that are funny to bring up.
Okay.
Oh God. No, there's too many N-words in this. I
Okay.
can't.
Don't, I mean,
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Please don't.
Uh,
Token black guy.
It ends with, yeah, so I don't give a fuck about what anybody's saying right now. And I'm like, you should. Because a lot of people are saying some pretty bad stuff. So, like,
That's a lot of the problem what's happening in the world right now is people
Yeah,
are like,
I don't give a
you
fuck.
know, like I don't care, like I'll just say whatever I want, and
You
that's
should
not
care.
good.
You should be caring.
You should
You should be
understand
caring.
that motivation exists.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And that even if you don't intend to, like if it's just for the fun of saying something incredible, that's fine.
Yeah.
You're gonna get attention from it, but it's not the intention you're gonna want, and nobody's gonna believe you when you said it was a joke.
Joke, right?
Yep. Yeah. No.
So
Nobody's gonna believe you.
Like you're really digging yourself into a hole if you're
100%. Yep.
But then you also, I guess you can see, it's kind of like, if you're like considered the villain, like there's like different perspectives on the same situation, because
Yeah.
especially if you're like the one who's in the spotlight, maybe for you
Yeah.
thought everything you were doing, like maybe he didn't think, oh,
Peeing
me
on a 14-year-old girl.
peeing
is
on a
a bad
14-year-old, right.
thing to do.
Right, even though like morally, or what we perceive to be morally,
Yeah.
is incorrect.
And that's
you know?
possible. But that's the point where a human being needs to be self-aware enough to hear
Hear
from multiple sides, hey, you can't pee on that 14-year-old
Right,
girl,
right,
you know?
right.
But like when you brought up ethics, I think that's very important
Mm-hmm.
because music is a very social thing. Like
Yeah.
music is a thing that a lot of people share.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're gonna go out and do things like that, like I mean, like if you're in the music world, like you have to be careful because like even if your morals and your humor and your irony and your sarcasm is like that, and that would allow you to do that, maybe even in between your circle of friends.
Yeah.
And some of your fans are gonna think like, oh, it's just a joke.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Hey,
Not
I mean,
everybody's going to think it's a joke.
when 10 million people listen to it,
Yeah.
it becomes more of a matter of ethics
Mm-hmm.
because that's really worldwide, and like ethics is more of a culture between everybody.
Yeah.
And you really have to take that into account.
Yep.
It's not just something you can. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Like I was gonna bring up politics, but I don't know if it's like super relevant because it's like a whole different world when it comes
Yeah.
to politics. But like
That's true.
to keep it short, like a lot of people in the Trump administration are getting in trouble because they're following morals and not necessarily ethics, like especially in other countries. So like when he goes abroad and their team goes abroad, like they make themselves look like fools.
Yeah. They make us look like fools as
And
Americans.
it is thundering outside.
It really is.
real
Very
bad.
bad.
I was like, is that someone's breath? I was like, who's breathing so hard on the microphone? Like, Jesus.
Oh my
We're all-
god.
At first, I was like, is it me? And I'm like,
We're
no, it's
all
still going.
feet
And I'm
away
like,
from the microphones, too, so that doesn't make any
Hey, you
sense.
never
Yeah.
know. I
Yeah.
mean, if I can be sensitive, so can this microphone.
Hello, friends.
No. Stop. Stop it.
Just
Done.
halitosis.
Podcast over. Goodbye, everybody. The first and the last Dicctations. I hope you enjoyed it, because we're done.
Over.
Oh,
Finished.
dang.
Oh, no.
I'm seeing so much red when we laugh. I'm gonna have to do like so much. Like if this audio go like I've got a lot of stuff trying to prevent it from being too loud in the earphones.
Yeah.
But like, wow, that's bad. The
There
rumbling, like it's shaking the table, and you can
Wow.
hear it through the microphone.
Only in Florida.
Like if it clips sometimes, sorry. Like I'll work on it. But like it's good now. Like nothing's exploding, obviously. It's just
that's
like
nice.
if we're all doing it at the same time, it's going through one track and the thing you do So like it's going to clip every once in a while because it's going through a mixer. But
So, do you guys want to do 2 topics? Because we chose 3, but I feel like if we do 3, this is going to be like a 5-hour long podcast because it's been about an hour.
Oh, yeah. And then how many have we
I
gone
mean
through?
the more content the better.
Yeah, that's true. Do you want to do 2?
2 topics per person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Have
think-
you done 2 yet, Aaron?
I've done my first one, that's it.
Yeah, we've
That's
all
it.
done one. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So it's Aaron's turn next.
Oh, okay.
Bring up
Hey,
something
guys,
else.
we're back to me. All right. Actually, a topic that I thought was really interesting. I was kind of thinking about before we got into the R. Kelly debate because it was actually talking about being that I'm a classical musician. I was thinking classical music actually is a problem that we're having not only in the classical world but really in any genre
has something to say.
but like specifically in the classical world where like minorities are having more and more issues and struggles
Yeah.
like breaking out into the classical music scene.
Yes.
I thought that was really interesting being someone who was minority and I play a viola, which is
Also a minority.
also a minority, so it's a double minority. But like it's interesting to see how like years back like how music has changed so much because now especially like and I had a conversation with my mother the other day which like made me think or she was talking about like how like her thoughts on like classical music were like a lot of people are like a little bit more posh and a little bit more stuck up, which honestly, no offense, is like kind of true.
Yes,
if you
it's
see
very
like,
true.
unless you're in like in a youth orchestra and like a college orchestra where like everyone's kind of like your same age, like the older you get or the more like the classical music world is like really intense. And the same thing can go for any type of style of music. I mean, think about being a new band
Yep.
where you're trying to make it out, and you know, unless you have like different things like the finances to like have high quality productions, or if you have
A lot of the
like,
big dogs are going to get on your case about it.
right,
Yeah, yeah.
Like
right.
they're going to pick at you a little bit because they're
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, like there's a certain point I feel like some people get detached. Like a lot of the people, especially who are really, really good classical musicians.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like it is a possibility that you can develop this kind of complex where you're like you completely forget about all it took you to get to the point where you were.
Where you weren't, right.
Especially
Yes.
if you were super talented
Unless
in
you
the
were a
beginning.
virtuoso, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And like there are a lot of people who just take that to a point of like you're never gonna be this. So like why do you even try?
Well, that's,
But see, that's
the
the thing that
mentality
sucks, right.
that
That comes with the
that
genre,
comes
though.
with the genre, and the problem about that is when it's taught in public schools as like the first thing, like as a kid, like this is your first instrument, the violin or the viola, and you have that
Or the cello or
mentality,
bass.
or the cello or the bass.
'Cause we
You
can
have that
watch it
mentality, then it's like you get discouraged from making music,
Right.
and that's as a music teacher, that's the opposite of what
That's
you
what
want
you want.
to
You
do.
want the kids, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's because, which is, I mean, it's a good thing and a bad thing about
Mm-hmm.
public school music, where you have different genres. You have like the band kids, you have like the chorus kids, and you have the kids, even the drama theater,
Yeah,
and like drama and theater department. Like, you have all these different forms of art, and I think what ends up happening is that over time, especially depending on the history of that style of
Yeah.
music that you're surrounding, there's like different personalities that come with it. Because look at like all singers. Generally, you see singers and they're, I want to say more chill. Like when I think of a singer, I think of like a jazz singer. That's just the first person that comes in my head because they're just more like, you know, relaxed. When it comes to like a classical instrument,
Yeah.
you're thinking more Baroque style, sitting up and, you know, macaroni wigs. That's what they're called, macaroni? Yeah.
Are they? I have no
think
idea.
so.
I'm
The white-
imagining
the
a
white
wig
wig, you know
made
what
of
I'm-
macaroni.
I was in chorus. Like
I don't know what macaroni wigs are.
No,
I
but like,
mean,
you know, there's like certain characteristics that come with your instrument.
Yeah.
And I think that's, I guess what sucks about it is because of the traditions.
Yes.
You have to kind of follow up with it, because it's not like we're playing, not all orchestras play contemporary music.
Yes.
No one's going to play a 25-minute viola solo that sounds like playing
I
all
am.
12 tones.
I
Like,
will
that's
continue
not-
to be that person
well,
to do that.
let's not. But
Sarah
you
here.
stick to like certain, you know, certain like, what's it called, repertoire that you have to
Yeah,
play.
it's
And I
tradition,
think,
and I actually believe that tradition is important. That's one of the like
Right.
the reason that we instill classical music into children is like this is this famous song, Beethoven's Fifth, da-da-da-da.
like it has a
you know?
purpose. Like it shows
Yeah.
in music now that there is definitely a correlation.
right.
From,
Yeah.
Like it works. That's why it's there. That's why we teach kids who want to make music it because it's proven to work.
Right.
Yes.
For like 400 years.
But
So
when you come from the point of view as a classical musician of you'll never make money because you're not good enough, and you're
Right.
talking to like a 6-year-old or something, like that's not I don't believe that's okay. And like
No.
that's the thing is where pretentiousness it
Follows,
is
right.
it's a detriment.
to get soppy with it, like you should like it first.
Yeah.
right,
You
of
should
course.
You should
enjoy
at
it.
least like it. It
But
doesn't
I-
matter if you're sloppy.
But
you
I
know?
also think it also it comes from the background of the individual as well, because I mean, you're gonna have kids who have more chances. Like think about like Sally Sue over here, who's had a private violin teacher for like 18 years.
Yeah.
She's gonna play like Hilary Hahn.
Yeah.
While you have Joe Slow over here, who's only played like in middle school orchestra
Joe
and high school orchestra, and then he's in college,
Yeah.
and him and Sally are like, you
Stand
know,
partners, yeah.
not only stand partners, but that they're auditioning against each other.
Oh, true.
And Joe
And-
gets second violin, while
and-
Sally's first chair. Like, do you know what I mean?
And
Like,
that's the thing. And it's just like, well, that's how it goes. That's
yes. I mean, you
the
could say, yeah,
the
you could
competitive
practice, but
music
at the
world.
end of the day, I think that's the thing that sucks about it all is because
you have to work double as hard if you know.
if you don't have those
Yeah.
resources.
And it's in the music at least in the classical music world, it's left up to interpretation. It's like, well, we don't know how much Joe Slow practiced, or we don't know how much.
Sally.
Sally.
That's not discrediting.
Yeah, no, of course
But at
not.
the same time,
It's a little bit like, are we acknowledging the financial differences in classical music or not? Because like you went to Olympia and you had, and I went to Edgewater, which are very different schools. At Edgewater, we got pepper sprayed in my senior year, made the news. We got shut down. There were many fights, and I was in the orchestra, and we weren't a great string program, but there were many kids in there. Bringing it back to the minority aspect of this thing, where like I was in quintets where I was the only white person there, and every other like, oh god, every other.
Sorry, headphone user.
I'm so sorry. Every other.
You bitch got a drink.
Okay.
glug glug.
Let me get back to my serious point about minorities.
Oh my god.
Okay, so I was in a quintet where I was the only white person there, and every other, I believe to be more talented person in that quintet was African American. And it's been consistently throughout my entire musical career, it's across all ethnicities, people who are talented. And so like if you determine like somebody's ability
Based
simply
off of
by
the color, that doesn't make.
based off of their color, based off of their financial status, that's not true.
Yeah, it's not. I think
That's not right.
At least in this case, I don't necessarily think minority stems specifically from like.
Financial.
I don't want to say financial, but like specifically when it comes to like color, skin, or nationality. Because honestly, I know some people who are like, say for instance, from like Venezuela, like Pedro.
Oh, right. Venezuela-
Phenomenal flautist.
Flautist, yeah.
Flautist, yeah.
Um,
Flautist.
He's a flouter. Anyway.
But Venezuela has a fantastic
But they
music
have
program
right,
as well.
But it's like it. I think it just depends just on the surroundings as well, because like I didn't. Yeah, people in my family like played musical instruments, but it wasn't like
The thing.
right.
that
Like
you
everyone
did.
else was focused on other things. Well, like
Yeah.
you can have people who are like raised where like you were destined to play the oboe,
Yeah, true.
and you're gonna be
Well,
oldest.
People like to think that about Bach and like Mozart and things like that, but then you read about their childhood in Beethoven, where it's like, you know,
They
Beethoven's dad came home drunk and forced him to practice piano, or Bach, you know, was forced to walk around with his dad and go to gigs and whatever. I don't think they called them gigs back then, but you know.
They
whatever.
called him jigs.
Dude, I got this gig.
I got this gig. Little Bach got this gig.
Little Bach, that's his street name.
Little Bach. Or like Mozart, you know, like he was just forced to play piano all the time.
True.
And like that's from the beginning. And I don't know. It's difficult. It's difficult to be a classical musician, and that's the problem. We're not investing money into it. We're not paying enough attention to it, so
But
that it's not easy to do.
Right. But then the argument now that I've noticed is like, is classical music dying?
Yes.
You
Yes,
know?
I believe so. I don't
Yes.
think it will ever die, but I
Right.
think it is dying.
It's definitely decreased
It's
in value.
declining. Yeah.
Right. Because I've noticed that like I remember like back then. When I say back then, I was born in '97. But like I remember like back in the day, like hearing like people like the New York Philharmonic like playing on the radio and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and like that used to be the thing. And now, I mean, you have like mumble rapper.
Oh.
You have all these artists
shade, yeah.
who are, you know, and there's nothing wrong with like different genres. Of course, I mean, I listen to a lot of different things. Like there are days where like I want to listen to like just everything classical, and then there are days where I'm like listening to lo-fi or even like indie rock. Like it doesn't. I love that now we have access to so many different genres that weren't there before.
Yeah.
But I also feel like, what about those traditional forms of, you know, art?
Yeah. It's
Such as
important.
classical, where it's like, for me, I mean, being that, you know, play the fucking video, where I find that, I don't know, I feel like, as someone who's enthusiastic about music, I definitely don't think, it sucks that like this form of art is kind of dying in the sight of society. Does that make sense?
I think it's people with your view though that are like enthusiastic about it and optimistic. You know, like I think that's what's gonna save the culture of it. Is people being positive towards the music, and you know, like people latch onto that kind of stuff and positivity and things like that. So like, thank you.
There
I
you
appreciate that.
I got slightly like I was like,
worried that we just lost a bunch of stuff.
No, we're still
Okay,
good.
good. We're
It's
good.
still going.
Yay.
But I think it is people like you who are enthusiastic about this type of music, even if it's like starting to decline. Like that is when you have to put more into it.
Right.
You know, and like
Put more effort.
Really be
More
extra
effort.
creative
Step up.
with it.
Yeah.
Step it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like, not necessarily just
up.
stepping up. I mean, like, a lot of classical musicians are still really good. I think it's just like their attitudes about it are changing,
Right.
and people's attitudes in general about it are changing.
Right.
Even though like people are like quoting it and like using it in their stuff still, so I don't quite understand like how people are like, oh yeah, that's dumb. Let me just take this cello suite and use it in my next rap song. Like it's not dumb. You're using it.
Yeah, no.
And I think it's like this weird like black veil over people's faces that are just like, no, classical music is dumb. Let me just quote it constantly.
It goes back into the whole like classical music is seen as like older.
Well, that's
not older,
just
but
like,
like
a lack of
historic,
education
right.
at that point. Because it's like if you educate people from the beginning, from children, that about classical music and the culture, as a whole, we as a society are
Future
going
generations are going to benefit.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
From that
If you
point of
teach them
view,
young,
yeah.
because then, like, I mean, kids are the most. I don't know how to necessarily say it, but like their brains are the most. Like they'll latch on
They're
to
like a
stuff like
sponge,
that.
yeah. Most kids, yeah.
And.
most kids. Some kids are just.
I mean,
they're
Like, I don't know,
rock,
as
like
someone
a
who,
sedimentary
like-
rock. Just smooth.
Yeah.
No ridges.
okay.
Is it
I'm a
sentiment?
teacher.
Is it
So
ignorant?
Aaron's just dragging some kids
I'm a
right now.
teacher, so I know how it is.
All right.
Anyways.
All right. Cool.
I don't know. Is that a good place to stop? I don't have anything to piggyback off that really.
Yeah.
And I think we have more stories we can talk about next time.
Oh.
Next
okay.
time on.
Because everything else I have is like a completely different topic. So
Okay.
I think like I don't know. Maybe it's just good to stop it here for now.
Real quick, I want to talk about how bad this Jack White video was. I made all of them watch
yeah.
it. The
Oh,
new
it's the-
corporation
We were watching
video.
this just
This is the
before.
Jack White
right
corner.
before. I'm in love with Jack White, as you can probably tell from all these things are all Jack White
She's
related.
very.
And he came out with an album earlier this year called Boarding House Reach, which is like super experimental, very different from his first two
Very different.
albums. Neither of them have heard it because I've heard the entire album. I don't
I've
think.
just-
Well, it's because
I've
she
heard
keeps
a
saying it's
couple.
bad. So like, why would I go out and?
I don't
Right.
say that it's bad. It's weird, and I like weird, but not everybody likes weird. So I'm not gonna say like, "Hey, this is the best album ever."
Right.
And it's not so weird that it's unaccessible as well, which is what a lot of people say makes it good.
But Jack White definitely has a style.
Yes.
Right.
You've gotta like Jack
Jack
White.
White. To
really,
really
have
be
to
into
like
it.
Jack White to
You have to
get it.
because like a lot of his stuff is really riff based, and
Yes.
he'll drive those riffs home real hard.
Yes.
And that's like when he started making music.
Oh,
and,
yep.
And now he's like doing all kinds of stuff.
Stuff, right.
And if you follow his like discography, oh, look at you. He started off very simple and he started to get increasingly complex, which was nice. And
like
then
everyone
he
with
has
art.
just gone right back to simple. And it's sort of created a divide in the Jack White fandom because it's very much like, great, we're getting original White Stripes, garage sound. And it's like, yeah, but he's not the White Stripes in a garage. He's a $40 million, net worth
There's
musician.
a difference, and there's a difference in the sound
Yes.
of everything.
And I mean, the idea of the album was that he was going to lock himself in a hotel for 3 days or for a while and write this album.
He was going to take a. What is it called?
Hiatus?
No, there's a word for it. I forgot.
Staycation?
Staycation.
No, what is it called? It's a sabbatical.
Sabbatical. There you go.
Yes.
That's the word that we found today. So
The word of the day is
the word of the day
sabbatical.
is sabbatical. No, so he was gonna lock himself in this hotel and record on his original tape deck that he found when he started recording music at 14 years old. So, and it's a lot of the songs are really great and then are fantastic, but then there are some songs like Corporation, which is where this video is from, where it's literally just like, you can tell he wrote it to be an arena song. Like, you know, like it's a jam, and then he wants the audience to shout out specific words at him. And there's no real melody. There's a riff that he plays a million times because he's Jack White. That's what he does.
It is a live song.
It's a live song.
It's not a sit down and listen with headphones song.
Yeah.
It is you go there and you hear it live and it sounds badass and then it's call and response. Like one of those kinds of things.
Yeah. So it's weird to make a video about that song. Because
there's no words.
There's no words.
There's so few words.
There's very few words. There's a sentence are the lyrics that are just repeated.
And it makes sense that he would go for choreography.
Yeah.
Which is there's a lot of dancing in the video.
There's a lot of dancing in the video.
And because like that's words through movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different different.
And that makes a lot of sense. It's just
I think it's so funny.
I think it's definitely one of those.
They don't fit either. They don't fit with the video. So Corporation is the idea about it is like he says I'm going to start I'm going to build like an army. I'm going to have blah blah blah, which is it's just so simple. It's like I'm going to have an audience follow me, and it's going to be me and it's going to be you, and that's the whole point of a live song.
Right.
Great. The video is a murder mystery where he's dead.
Scooby-Doo.
And you're trying to figure out who the murderer is, and they keep introducing like 17 characters that you've never seen
and there's
before.
no words.
And there's no words.
So they introduce so many characters in the beginning,
and it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense
4
at all.
or 5 sub stories going on here.
Yeah.
And I think you're supposed to gleam
and kind of just figure it out, like
who's like what's going on, and like it's supposed to. I feel like it was really in his head supposed to be a lot more easy to follow than it ended up being,
right.
Because I don't get it at all in the slightest. I don't get it.
This is why I love bringing up Jack White to people who don't listen to Jack White, because they're like, what is happening all the time? And it makes me laugh. And there's a lot of like...
You're just like, my little heart.
My little heart. And it's so similar to the 16 Saltines video, which was basically like a bunch of kids like lighting stuff on fire and like being destructive, and I'm just not professional at all.
You're professional.
First broadcast.
We're at her kitchen.
We have Thunder
this is not a
making
kitchen.
entrances.
This is a dinner table.
Oh my
this
god.
Is a family dinner table. Okay, no.
What do you think? Be some sort of ape man?
So, all right, we're gonna move on from that. So, 16 Saltines is a song off of his first album, and the music video was like a bunch of kids lighting stuff on fire, and right in the beginning they like tie him up and leave him in a car, and then the rest of the video is just a bunch of kids, and it's random.
Just kids doing what kids do.
Doing what kids do.
Right.
Gas masks, lighting things on fire.
Gas masks?
Gas masks. I thought they were making meth at one point, and I'm like, what are you doing, Jack White?
Oh, God.
Why are you doing this to me? And there's also a child in the Corporation video.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's
speaking of that, anyway, keep going.
Okay. Well, he has an obsession with childhood innocence as well. Like throughout his entire like, you know how like innocence can be lost, and like that's a very sort of like romantic era theme, and it's a good theme to harp on. And he, you know, is probably something that pops up a lot in his like creative mind. But the thing about it is like
where can I
sometimes your art has to make sense.
Right.
Not just to you.
Not just to you.
It probably made sense to him.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean that counts to a certain extent, but if you're gonna release it to a lot of people, like
other people have to
make
be
sense
able to
everyone,
make the connect the dots, right?
Also, if you're gonna be pretentious, don't be more pretentious and release it only on Tidal.
Oh, listen, I love
exclusively
Tidal.
on Tidal.
I love
You're
Tidal.
like, what?
I love Beyonce.
I love Beyonce.
Tidal?
No.
I've created so many fake emails.
I'm poor. I can't have Tidal. I'm sorry.
I can't have Tidal and Spotify.
I can't afford it. I can't afford both Tidal and Spotify.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I just can't. And I love you, Jack White, but also I will pirate your video to watch, if I'm honest, because I'm
I will
also
be the first
very
to
poor.
convert YouTube to MP3 and download it on SoundCloud.
But for real, go on the Jack White subreddit and find the video because you can only get it on
Guys, I
Tidal.
don't think we're supposed to advertise that.
No, do it.
We want
Do
Tidal
it.
to sponsor us.
Fuck off, Tidal. Never sponsor us.
Well, there goes
I
our
want to be
brand
sponsored
deal.
by Malta. That's what I want.
Oh God.
I want specific sponsors. Oh my god.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, well we burned that bridge.
Yeah. We're never meeting Beyonce now. No.
Oh no.
Yeah.
In the first
Not
episode,
Beyonce.
We're just like, we're gonna let it out for you right now. We are not advertiser friendly. Right
Yeah,
in the first
no,
episode.
we're not.
That's a
I
lie.
don't
We
care.
are. Please.
We're
We're never gonna make
gonna-
any money.
We're gonna have to reach out to like male sex enhancement people.
No,
and, like,
I'm not doing that either. I'm not okay with that.
Just the real easy stuff.
This is why we have the bear to hold in case camera gets weird.
It's the innocence that is
man.
being lost.
yeah, that's me lost.
Where's Jack White?
Yeah,
when you
where's
need
Jack
him?
White?
I saw that on the H3H3 podcast once where he did a sex enhancer drug
No,
thing,
what?
and I was like, really? Like, and he harps on it like, you know, I only advertise stuff I use and I like, so it's like he's on here
Okay,
using
alright.
a sex enhancing drug
No.
and advertising it, saying like you can go here and get like 40% off your first order, and you're
Oh.
like, yeah. What's going on with your dick?
So I'm not gonna tell my mom to listen to this one, I guess.
Just watch the next one. That's alright, Mom. But everyone else.
Oh, jeez.
My mom really wants to watch this.
Oh no!
Oh.
Why did you do this to yourself?
I mean,
All right. Goodbye. That's the end, I guess. I don't know.
Before we go, thank you guys
Thank you so
for
much
listening to us.
For suffering through this
We're
with us.
we're definitely gonna give you better content next time.
Yeah.
Better topics. I mean, and if anything, if you have any suggestions or whatever, just let us
Yeah.
know. You know, we're very open.
Ooh.
Oh, there goes the
Oh.
video.
Oh, there we go. Oh shoot!
Oh.
Oh shoot! Did it run out of battery?
Oh my god.
Wow.
That's a
But
lot.
to the people that are listening to us,
Yeah,
thank you
to the
guys so
headphone
much
users, yeah.
for everything. You guys were great.
Yep.
And catch us on our YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud.
Spotify,
We're not
SoundCloud.
sponsored yet. SoundCloud.
Malta, I love you. Please sponsor us.
And then
Malta
we have
Goya,
a Facebook
I
page,
love
correct?
you.
Yeah, we're Facebook.
Yes, we do have a
we have a
Facebook
Facebook page
page.
as well. So
Facebook
like us on Facebook. You know, smash that subscribe button and
Smash it.
post those
Break it.
post notification. Ring the bell, guys.
Ring that bell.
Ring that bell.
And we'll come back to you with some more content.
Yeah.
in the
Absolutely.
future.
Thank
We're
you so much.
excited.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This was
All
nice.
right.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I'll see you guys later.